Good morning and happy Monday. So this is my first video and I have a passion for reading, so I decided that I would read one book at a time, one chapter every single day, and read to whoever wants to listen. So that's what I'm doing by starting this channel. So now I will be reading Ugly. This is a book that I got in 5th grade at a book fair, and it's more of a mature book, but it's a very good book with a very good lesson. So I'll go ahead and read the back to you guys. When Robert was born, he had a tumor the size of a tennis ball in the middle of his face and short, twisted legs. Surgeons removed the tumor and made him a new nose. He survived complicated surgeries, only to discover that the other kids and adults could be cruel about his appearance. But Robert refused to let the judgments of other people define him. If you've ever felt different, worried about the way you look, or wonder where you belong, you'll see yourself in Robert. This true story of his struggles, triumphs, and adventures will leave you recognizing the beauty in who you already are. So I'll go ahead and start as the first chapter, with the introduction. Okay. I guess you could call this the story of my story. The proper This Is Robert's Big Exciting Life of Ugliness story starts just a couple of pages beyond this, but I wanted to write an introduction for the special edition of Ugly to tell you some of the reasons why I wrote this book. If you'd rather skip ahead and read about my actual life first, that's fine. This will be here when you finish. I'll wait. When I was growing up, I had no idea that I would ever have a story worth telling, let alone one people might want to read or listen to. First of all, there was just so much life to be living, making new friends, fighting with my brothers and sisters, wondering if I'd ever make it into the football team, and getting into mischief. Beneath those points of my childhood, though, the ugly little pieces of my story were falling into place. Eventually, my life became my story, and I decided there were more reasons to write ugly than to leave it unwritten. The first reason was the simplest. I love telling stories. Storytelling is the crazy glue that holds us all together. Stories can soar and sing and surprise, and sometimes when we share our own stories, they do all three at once. My story certainly had a surprising start. I was born with a massive tumor in the middle of my face and 2 deformed legs. My parents weren't initially sure what to do with me, and my doctors didn't know if I'd live very long. Understanding my parents' initial feelings and sharing a little bit of their story with others who may have faced a similar situation was the second major reason for writing my story. The final reason I wrote Ugly is the most important. I wanted to talk to you, readers, about what it means to grow up looking and feeling different. Too often, adults try to suggest that differences in appearance don't matter by pretending they simply don't exist. But you and I know the world looks different. Why? Because we are different. We don't have to define ourselves solely looking by our differences. But we don't have to ignore them either. It's also worth saying that most books are a little bit of a lie, even when the story they're telling is true. Lives in books often look like a completed jigsaw puzzle. Even if the puzzle was messy to start with, by the end of a book, all the pieces magically fall into place. Like puzzle pieces, lives in books have some sharp corners, some curvy parts, and some straight edges. One piece clicks into another, and the picture they make becomes clear and complete. When you're in the middle of actually living your life, however, there's no pictures of what it should look like to the end to guide your of what it may look like at the end to guide your choices. That was a little bit of a tongue twister there. Few people know what the big picture of their life is going to look like while they're living it. I certainly didn't when I was growing up. I questioned a lot of my choices and often wondered if I had done the right thing. The answers only seem obvious when you get to the end of the book, when you turn the last page and the puzzle suddenly looks complete. Life is not a book, though. If you're different from other kids, don't worry about the jigsaw puzzle. Don't judge yourself by everyone else's seemingly beautiful picture. And don't worry if your final picture doesn't seem clear, or if the edges around your story don't seem sharp. It may become clear later. Maybe it will remain entirely random until the very last piece slots into place, when everything becomes beautifully obvious. Or maybe the puzzle pieces won't ever seem to entirely fit together at all. All of that's okay. None of us knows which bits of our lives will slot nicely together when we are living them. We're all a little bit worried sometimes, confused at other times, even if our books make our lives seem magical. The solution is simple. Be unafraid of living. The puzzle pieces will take care of themselves. That was the introduction. You will want to tune in for the first chapter and so on, because it's a really good book with a really good moral and lesson. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.